your history teacher, and we are dealing with the chapter number 5, Rise of Buddhism and Jainism. Today we have come to the end of the chapter, the last topic we will cover today. Just a review of the chapter, what we have covered till date or till now is how did Buddhism and Jainism spread to the different parts of the world. What were the main teachings of there? What were their main teachings? What was their concept? What was their belief on religious system? Why they did not believe in the ideal worship? Why they focused on karma or the deeds of an individual? What was their take on the salvation, that is moksha? How did they spread to different parts of the world, not only in India, but to the different parts of the world? What were the similarities between Buddhism and Jainism? How did they popularize themselves? What was the contribution of the kings of those times? How did they cooperate? And how did they spread among different castes, different sects, different parts of the world? Our last topic of the day of this chapter is decline of Buddhism and Jainism. This is the topic that we are going to cover today. Decline of Buddhism and Jainism. Everything, if you see the history, it's rewritten every time. Why? Because at one point of time, when someone is very powerful, he is at the top, he comes down with the passage of time. So this is the cycle of life. This is the cycle of rulership or the kingship. At one point of time, the Buddhism and Jainism were flourishing. They were spreading, but they broke down or they declined. What were the reasons basically? The first and the foremost reason is internal conflict. There was an internal conflict. The conflict came due to the religious policy. The conflict came due to the excess amount of wealth was earned, or the excess amount of the wealth flourished from different parts. The greed broke the chain, and there was a decline of both the sects, that is Buddhism and Jainism. Come to the book, page number 37. Decline of Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism declined due to internal and external factors. See, I told you the prime factor is internal factor. The prime factor why it declined was the internal factor, but the external factor equally played an important role in the declining of Buddhism and Jainism. It became increasingly unpopular because serious conflicts arose within the Sangha after the formation of Hinayana and Mahayana. I told you the Buddhism was divided into two groups, Hinayana group and the Mahayana group. So slowly and steadily it started losing its importance. People started refusing in the middle of the Hinduism rules. When Hinduism was flourishing, when the Hinduism was flourishing, the Buddhism were creating a distance among themselves by forming two sects, that is Hinayana and Mahayana. The Buddhist form of worship became ritualistic and rigid. This was a big reason. The ritualistic process became very rigid. Means there were no alternatives. People had to follow. People were asked to preach. They were not given any option, any alternatives. So whenever rigidity comes, whenever you are very stuck about a particular thing or a point, that loses its importance. And same history happened over here. The Buddhism, the ritualistic policy of the Buddhism became very rigid. The king dominated the followers, and they asked them to follow it by hook or by crook. The Sanghas accumulated wealth, and the monks became materialistic and even corrupt. I told you wealth was another reason. wealth was another valid reason. It is the wealth which actually creates greed in one's mind. Which actually makes corrupt. So same thing happened. Wealth flourished from all the different parts of the world because the religion was spread into the different parts of the world. Everywhere wealth was flourishing, wealth was coming. It actually created a greed in the minds of the followers, in the minds of the kings. So there was a division. The Buddhist monks adopted Sanskrit and discontinued the use of Pali language, which was the common language during that time. And the language was discontinued, rather Sanskrit was adopted. A common language was discontinued. Which was the common language? Pali. Pali was the common language during that time. They gradually lost touch with common people. Since you cannot communicate in the common language, common people's language, you will ultimately tend to lose communication process, or you will tend to lose touch with them. So that is what happened. When the language was changed, the touch with the common people was decreased, and that led to create a gap between the Buddhism and Jainism. Their religious policies could not be promoted, they could not be advertised, they could not be put into the minds of young minds of the upcoming generations of those times. That created a gap, the language. At the same time, some developments in Hinduism weakened the popularity of both Buddhism and Jainism. See, two people are fighting, the third takes the benefit. This is what happened. Both the sects divided themselves. Buddhism divided into Hinayana, Mahayana, Jainism divided into Digambaras and Svetambras. So when the division was taking place, a lot of wealth issue was there, corruption issue was there, language issue was there, and the problems of the common people were not heard. These all problems created or made them a bit of disturbed by such religion. When the rigidity was imposed, it became more unpopular. So the people were looking for an alternative. In the middle of all these, Hinduism started flourishing. People shifted to Hinduism in spite of following Buddhism and Jainism. So two people fights always creates the benefit to the third one. This is what happened. The history proves over here. Hindu sect introduced reforms and in the beliefs and practices of Hinduism. Even Hinduism tend to renovate itself, tend to change some sort of rigidity in itself. It brought some changes. The change is the need of time. You have to change yourself. Today, since we are not able to communicate on a physical mode, we cannot meet with each other. We have come with a changing opinion that online classes would be best suitable. Not to just involve you, not to just keep the flame of education burning. We have been in touch with the online process. So we have made a change. The change is always good if it is for the welfare of both. They now preach devotion and discourage meaningless rituals and sacrifices. This was a change from the Hinduism point. They did not believe in the utter rigidness over ritualistic values, but moreover, what they focused on, some devotion should be there, but not at the rigidity level. They should not be rigid. The saints were very polite, they learned how to be liberal. The Bhakti saints of later years advocated a caste-free society. The Kabir, Mirabai, all the followers who came later on, they came with a policy of that there should not be any caste, because caste divides. Caste divides. We are divided. So the latter phase of the life or latter phase of the history, when the Kabir was introduced or when the Bhakti movement was introduced, there was no as such foundation of having any caste as identity. Rather, everyone was treated equal. Hinduism accepted Lord Buddha as an avatar of Lord Vishnu. This was a connection made that Buddhism is not a new religion. It is basically an avatar of, or it is basically an, you can say like an ancestor follower was Gautam Buddha. So there was a connection made that they were actually the Hindu followers only or Hindu patronage only who are in the form of different sects of society. The rulers of large part of India patronized Hinduism. The history turned now. The history is folded now. Here, the rulers, in spite of promoting Jainism and Buddhism, they started promoting Hinduism. History turned its own way, and the people and the subjects realized their importance, along with the promotion of the kings of during those regions. So with this we come to the end of the chapter. I will be sending you the question answers and all the necessary details with regards to the chapter. And if you have any such doubts regarding the chapter, if you find any difficulty throughout the chapter, you can send me a message on WhatsApp group or you can even call me. Thank you, guys.